With Session Update, I'm Julie Bartke. The Minnesota Senate debated its Senate File 1 on Thursday. It's a bill that creates a state-run online marketplace for health insurance. The House passed its version Monday after roughly 6 hours of debate. In the Senate, there was considerable debate as well.
House File 5, Senate File 1 creates a state-based exchange under the Affordable Care Act. This is largely a website that will allow for the first time a real apples-to-apples comparison on behalf of consumers, individuals, families, and businesses to compare and choose the right products for themselves, their families, their employees.
Senator Laurie has really done a lot of work on this. I don't think there was a committee he missed, maybe agriculture, I'm not sure, but or transportation, but he has seen them all, and I've been there with him. Unfortunately, many of our ideas or amendments were not and could not be accepted. I am troubled and puzzled by the lack of not following the Health Insurance Exchange Task Force recommendations, because members, why do we have a task force if we don't follow the recommendations going forward?
If in fact the federal government has put mandates upon us and time restrictions upon us that require us to set aside the rule-making process that we normally have in place, sweep the people aside and do what a board of unelected folks would like to do and disregard the input of the people, then that's a law maybe we ought to be pushing back against instead of facilitating.
I know at least this much, that if I'm a Minnesotan that wants to buy health care on the healthcare exchange, I get onto the computer, onto the internet, I identify a provider, and then I buy that exchange, that policy. And so I'm wondering, how much is the value of all those transactions that will pass through this exchange? Does the chief author know?
One of the core functions of making an exchange that can work for people is to make sure that the products offered are in the interest of consumers. And that is actually a federal requirement that the board make that determination that it is in the interest of consumers. There is a possibility to cede that authority and just say minimum certification requirements will suffice for your selection of plans in the interest of consumers. But I think that it is critical that we have leverage on the part of this public body to be able to drive value out of the insurance industry.
Frankly, Madam President and Senator Laurie, I'm pretty disappointed that you wouldn't understand that with this much at stake in our economy and this many transactions and this many insurance providers in the state of Minnesota, that we can't answer just a few basic questions about who's going to be allowed to participate and who is going to be excluded. And so that's why Senator Nelson has an amendment and Senator Gazelka has an amendment, because we've heard from employers, we've heard from the insurance providers, we've heard from our businesses, we've heard from all over the state. They want just a few more answers. So I hope that Senator Laurie would change his view. Take some input from these other very well-informed members. Take some input from our employers, our businesses, our chamber, our communities, and just answer a few more questions. Just put this provision in, take back your opposition. We're all here because we all care about the outcome here, and we would appreciate it, Senator Laurie, if you would just take one good amendment.